So do you feel like the Diversity Action Alliance was a big part of the mission was to really, as you have framed so articulately in terms of what the actual reality is, do you feel like that their mission was to bring along all of the corporate entities and certainly the agency entities as well that serve them into a much more accurate mindset of what the need is, like a real call to action? And is that what you were led to believe they were going to do?
So let me answer that in a more fuller way.
Okay.
Diversity Action Alliance has some other big associations. So it's about 8 associations that are coming together. Several of them are affinity groups, so they're helpful, but they're not the end user we're seeking to convince.
Okay.
The end user we're really seeking to convince is really in 2 silos. PR Council, right, which is a big industry group made up of the agencies, small, medium-sized, and very large, global, the top ones, are in one affinity group. And then the other one that includes agencies and corporate communication divisions is a very large organization called the Paid Society. Very powerful group, a lot of money, corporate bucks, okay? PRSA Foundation and PRSA, with all due respect, even though it has some power, is not the most powerful groups. Those 2 groups I just mentioned are the most powerful groups. Why? Because you and I know that the average person at PRSA is not in a top 10 firm. It's usually somebody that's a freelancer or has their own shingle, and they need more help, and they want to network, and they want to learn. The average person that's not in our profession does not know that's what PRSA is. How do I know? Even though I'm not a member of PRSA, and there's a bunch of reasons why I'm not, personal decisions I've made, I have volunteered to help PRSA over the years in many ways. I've given speeches at various locations, very small towns around the country about crisis PR and reputation management. Sometimes 25 people are showing up, and that's almost the whole chapter representation. Small businesses, the local bank sponsors me to come in, and that sort of thing. Those are great things, but what I'm saying is that's not what people think PRSA is. PRSA, people who are external to our world believe that PRSA is the voice and the organization for PR, and it's not. Okay, so PR Council, Paid Society, the heavyweights. And I emphasize that because in my resignation, there's a challenge. I didn't just say I'm gone. I will always work on these issues. Quite frankly, I'm more effective not within an organization. I have my own followers. I'm on national and international TV on a weekly basis. And a lot of people respect my opinion because I do due diligence and intelligence gathering, and I don't do it alone. I might stand alone, but I get my intel from civil rights groups that I've had as clients. I get my intel from people that are working within these organizations who are not happy. I get my information from CEOs, secretaries who go, you need to know about this. I have access to knowing. People have gotten on the phone with me from DAA and other industry groups and go, how do you know that? It's not important how I know it. Is it true? Are you going to do something about it? Okay. You don't have enough money for scholarships this year because of the coronavirus? I heard before they wanted to announce it. What are you going to do about it? What do you mean you can't raise $3,000 to $5,000? What are you talking about? That's embarrassing to you for you to even say that to me. You don't think I'm an educated man? You don't think that I have a passion for these young kids? You're going to tell that kid that just won a scholarship he's not getting it? You dislike your profession so much that between each of the organizations in just Page and PR Council, if they just each gave $100, you'd have tens of thousands of dollars. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I so fully agree and passionately agree with that observation regarding this just inability to engage at a financial level. The PRSA Foundation, I know they have a laudable mission, but I think all of the people who serve the organization mean well.
Yes.
I have no question about motives in that respect, but I do have a lot of concern about the lack of metrics, about the lack of having set forth what about 8 years ago is when the PRSA Foundation completely turned to diversity as its singular mission. They started that process without having basically put forth, this is what we're going to accomplish. Here are measurable, timeline-driven objectives. This is how we're going to engage our stakeholders. This is how we're going to mobilize the 20,000+ members of PRSA to join with us to, for this to be a cascading effect of everyone to be behind it and to be financially vested.
But Mary Beth, it's even more research than that. And this is where, pretend we're in a diversity training. Everything, the big umbrella isn't even that. Those are tactics underneath the big umbrella of negativity and prejudice, and some would even say racism, that goes along with the things I'm about to tell you. So this is what I told all of them. I have gone to that dinner for PRSA Foundation for years. I'm in New York. I have been chairman of boards and raised a lot of money external to our profession. I know how to do it. Cancer foundations and others, a lot of money raised. But you don't see me as that. You see me as other. So I got to educate you about who I am and what others like me, other educated professionals of color you might not know, do. We're top at our game. But your mind says you're lesser than, even in our analysis of the problem. So let me tell you what I know. I know the PRSA Foundation was the dinner to go to every year. Sold out, Yale Club, packed house, swan song speeches before it was switched to diversity, elder statesmen usually, not even women, in our profession, white men, their swan song before they retired. They did that dinner, they got an award. Everybody came from around the world for it, and there was a lot of money, okay? There's a list of those who went every year and how much money they gave and how much it cost for a table and how much sponsorship it was. There was also a list of who was just giving money in general to PRSA Foundation because they wanted to get the award 2 or 3 years down the line. I wanted to be ingratiated to the organization of strong white men who were getting that award.
You have hit the nail. No, yeah, I know. Go ahead.
Then you switched. Then you said they switched about 8 years ago. I was involved with trying to help them. I'm not even in PRSA, but I said, I'll help. Seeking to get a free location for a dinner. I said, let me get this straight. The history has been the Yale Club. It is the place that's already branded as the place that this happens. Why are you switching it? You don't want to pay for the space? What are you talking about? Didn't you get the lists from the guys that were in there before you? Isn't that the first thing you would do? Wouldn't you maybe even give one of those guys the award for giving you the list? You want to talk politics? At least do that. By the way, one of those guys did get an award. Okay? Don't have to say his name. And then wouldn't you make sure that it's still a sit-down dinner, because that's how you raise the most money. Don't do past hors d'oeuvres. So you got a free space. The air conditioning got turned off at 6 o'clock just the other year. It was hot. People were complaining about it. And worse, none of the powerful white guys came because it's diversity now. It's not about them. And they sent the kids, some of them college kids, to fill in the blanks there. But that event is supposed to be having speakers and awardees who are of the ilk of color, who are peers to you. So show up. And don't believe me, look at the evidence. Take that narrative and look over, since it's been switched, the difference between the two. The same thing with fundraising for DAA. I know what the issues are for all of your associations. I've been in most of them. You know what the singular mission is here: to hire more senior executives of color, period. That will change the culture. They will do your job. They're a peer on boards, running P&L. But your mind goes, no, we're not really talking about that. We're talking about interns, entry level, and diversity really means lower level stuff. I'm not anywhere close to accepting that there's people that are qualified today who are equal to me to run a New York office, or to be a CEO of a firm, or to run the healthcare practice. And then I educate, and I still do this with some of the younger folks of color. You need to know everything. We need to share with you, and I'm now informally gotten over 50 professionals of color, some in our profession, some external, some lawyers helping, all pro bono, getting on calls, talking to each other. You need to share your contract when you were an EVP at a company so they know what it looks like. If you don't mind them seeing the amount of money, let them see that too. What kind of healthcare package did you pick? What kind of country club did you potentially get paid for? Your gym membership, a hotel overnight in Manhattan so you don't have to go back if you work until 11 to Connecticut and come back in. Secrets that you don't know of executive life. But they don't want that, but we're doing it now. And the kids go, whoa, I didn't even know about these other, what do you mean? There's a national practice head in each category of issues within PR? Yes. By the way, how many issues are there in PR? How many divisions are in you start at the top, not at the bottom, in a global top 10 firm, how many different jobs can you potentially have? And what are the different issues? Even when you're in college, you're not going to find necessarily all this on the website. You got to do some homework, but we can answer it for you. So when I talk about the profession and they go, yeah, you're a publicist, right? And I go, not a publicist. Actually a crisis PR expert globally. We make more money than attorneys when I talk to them. Get out of here. What are you talking about? Sometimes double what you charge per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Can't see that when they see this. Like, what? What are you talking about? Kids getting educated, right? Do you know that there's a national practice set for healthcare, for tech, for consumer, for crisis, for media relations? I can go on and on. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of specialties that all have a local in your city, sometimes a regional head, then a national head, then a country head, but you don't even know about these jobs. They're not even mentioning them to you. These should be opportunities for you to strive to have those positions. The way that you're hearing now with the issues that you were describing before, that there are two different nations, two different cities in New York, the rich and the poor, right? Two different perspectives on life, right? That has been a theme for speeches for generations now, that people, especially white people, are understanding that communities of color are living a very different life than you. It's the same thing in our profession, is how I describe it to the young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do the homework to find out the truth, because they're not telling you all the answers, because they don't see you as an equal. But we will help you. That's what not mentorship is. Sponsorship. Sponsorship is different than mentorship. Most people get this wrong. That you not just help me get in, every week you're there and helping me and planting a seed daily and weekly for me to become you. That's sponsorship.